Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Southern Gal True Crime. Today is our Missing Person Monday episode. If this is your first time here, welcome. We are so very glad to have you here. I cover missing persons, true crime. Sorry, little camera adjustment. I cover missing persons, cold cases, some true crime in the news, and more. Today is our Missing Person Monday episode. I do this every Monday. There's a regular feature that I do along with my case of the week on Friday. And today I have five cold cases to bring to you, and they do have a theme, or at least a theme and a common suspect in all the suspect and or person of interest in all these cases is one man's name. You'll see when I start going through this, one person's name pops up in all of these cases. And the first case that we're going to start with actually is Charley Farrell. And a subscriber of mine actually had suggested here a while back that I look into the Charley Farrell case. And I've had it in my browser for a long time. So I came across it again when I was looking for cases to put together for this episode. And when I got to, and all this information comes from the Charley Project. As always, I will put a link to it in the description box. But when I was reading Charlene's information on the Charley Project, I came down to this one part where it named this one individual that is a suspect in Charlene's case, and also the other four cases that I'm going to bring to you. He was actually pled guilty, convicted in one of these other cases that I'm going to bring to you. And so after I came across this individual that kept popping up in all these cases, I did a little research on him. And he will probably be the subject of my case of the week for this week. And because I found a couple of articles, a couple of interesting websites that had information from law enforcement and court documents. And if all this is true, what they've been investigating with this person, I'm not going to call him a gentleman, with this person, if all this is true, in my opinion, he could possibly be a serial offender. And in the law enforcement that have been investigating this individual also think they are investigating him as a possible serial offender. So we will get to him, a little bit of information about him at the end, after we get to our five cases. But first, as always, at the beginning of all my videos and or live streams, I always feature a current missing person. Today's missing person is Allison LaRue. She is a 14-year-old white female, 5'7", approximately 123 pounds, with black hair and black eyes. She is missing from Garland County, Arkansas, which is in central Arkansas. She was last seen wearing black sweatpants, gray shirt, white shoes, and she was last seen in the area of Geode Place in Garland County on February 25th, so it would have been yesterday, at around 6:50 p.m. So if you're in the Arkansas area, if you have any information as to her whereabouts, if you've seen her, please contact the Garland County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Division at 501-622-3660. And I will put a link in the description box to this information as well. I found it on the Garland County Sheriff's Office Facebook page. So please, if you don't share anything else, please share this information. Missing persons are the heart and soul of my channel, so it is very important to me to get this information out to as many people as possible. All right, we will move on, as I said, to hold on, there we go, hit the wrong button. As I said, once again, Missing Person Monday, and I put 5 cases, 1 suspect with a question mark. And you'll see what I'm talking about when we get into these cases. The first case is Charley Marie Farrell. Shailene went missing on August 8th, 1984 from Piqua, Ohio. She is classified as endangered missing. She was just 18 years old when she went missing. She was 5'3", 135 pounds. She was last seen wearing a boy's white T-shirt with the words "No Fear" in blue lettering on the front, blue Piqua high school shorts, black sandals. It says she was carrying a blue sapphire and diamond heart-shaped key ring, and it had about 5 keys on it. She has dark brown hair, hazel eyes. She had pierced ears. She had a brown-colored mole underneath her lower lip. She had a birthmark on her left thigh above her knee, a scar on her right leg above her knee. She smoked. It says she drank occasionally back in 1994. Four of her teeth are missing, and she had fillings in 11 other teeth, and she may have been wearing glasses. Now, I've had people ask me in these cold cases, why do I give all this information about last known clothing, jewelry, birthmarks, scars, dental records, when unfortunately, most likely the victims are deceased. But I give this information because it may help jog somebody's memory. That might, way back in 1984, someone may, read this or hear me saying this and say, "Oh, I remember this. I saw a girl that resembled this description that had these birthmarks or scars or whatever the case may be." And it just takes one little piece of information to jog somebody's memory, especially in this cold cases. One little piece of information, no matter how insignificant you think it may be, it is not insignificant. So that is why I give these details. So on the day that Shailene disappeared, she was last seen leaving her family's residence on Haverhill Drive in Piqua, Ohio. And this was at approximately 10 a.m. in the morning on August 8th, 1994. She had just planned to run a quick errand to buy a bottle of Lipton iced tea at the nearby Pick and Save grocery store. And apparently she held a part-time job at that particular store or convenience store for about 2 weeks before she disappeared. Shailene never returned home. She has not been seen again. She was reported missing after she did not show up for her 7 p.m. shift at work. Her mother's silver 1981 Chevy Malibu, which she had been driving, was discovered abandoned in the parking lot of the Pick and Save, which is where she worked. And this Pick and Save was on Route 36 in Piqua. It was found later in the day. There was no sign of her at the scene. She did not take any money, clothing, or identification with her when she disappeared. Prior to her disappearance, her mother had caught her smoking marijuana, and she had moved out of her parents' home, and she was living with a friend at the time. She, aside from that, she maintained very close contact with her family, and she did move back in with them several weeks later after this incident with the smoking of the substance. Investigators initially believed that Shailene had simply left home voluntarily again. So apparently she had a history of maybe running away or disappearing for a length of time, but she had always came home. When she disappeared, disappeared in August of 1994, but her mother and her best friend disagreed, and the police did eventually decide that she had probably met with foul play, unfortunately. Investigators suspect Christopher J. Below, it's spelled B-E-L-O-W, I don't know if it was Bellow or Below, was possibly, keep that name in mind, Christopher J. Below was possibly involved in Shailene's case. He is a suspect in several homicides and disappearances of young women, who we will be getting to. Those all the cases I'm going to bring to you today. This Christopher below is a suspect. So it should be emphasized, though, that Christopher has not been charged in connection with any case other than one other case that I'm going to bring to you. And as of 2024, he is currently incarcerated in an Ohio prison. At the time she disappeared, Shailene was a student at Pequot High School, and she disappeared shortly before the start of her senior year. And obviously, her case is unsolved. So if you do have any information about Shailene's case, please call the Pequot Police Department at 937-778-2027. Next, we have Mary Teresa Cousteau. Let me find her information. So Mary Teresa Cousteau went missing on February 5th, 1998 from St. Cloud, Florida. She was a white female. She was 43 years old at the time she went missing. So she would be 69 today. She was 5'6", 125 pounds. She was last seen wearing a white blouse, blue jeans, and black boots. She did have a history of a substance and alcohol addiction, but it says she was clean and sober at the time of her disappearance. She had brown hair, brown eyes. She had a tattoo of a parrot on her right shoulder blade. Her ears were pierced, and her previous married name was Flaherty, Flaherty. So Mary was last seen at Cindy's Lounge in the 1000 block of Pennsylvania Avenue in St. Cloud, Florida, at approximately. Sorry, there's a gnat flying around. At approximately 1:30 a.m. on May 5th, 1998. Apparently, she had gotten into an argument with her boyfriend. She left the lounge, and after that, she was never seen again. Her husband, so I don't know, because it says she got into an argument with her boyfriend, but it says that her husband, Guy Tuck Cousteau Jr., reported her missing on May 29th when he went to the lounge and told the bartender there that his wife was missing and, quote, had probably been SA'd or is somewhere deceased. So to me, that definitely raises red flags, because what husband would go? That would not be if my spouse, my husband disappeared, hadn't seen him. That would not be the way that I would phrase it if I was looking for my spouse. I would be giving a description and saying, "Have you seen?" I wouldn't go in and say, "Oh, she's probably been assaulted and is deceased somewhere." But be that as it may, that's what he said. So this fella her husband is not a very, in my opinion, very bad dude. It says he is a card-carrying member of, I'm not going to say it because I don't want these filthy words in my mouth. He is a card-carrying member of a very vile and disgusting organization. I'll just put it that way. And he had admitted that he had mistreated Mary. So by the time of her disappearance, she had left him. So this explains the boyfriend. By the time she disappeared, she had left this guy fellow, her husband, and she was seeing another man. And she had moved in with friends at a motel near Alligator Lake. So apparently the husband, Guy, passed a lie detector test and he was cleared of any involvement in Mary's disappearance, even though I still have questions, but that's just my opinion. Once again, investigators suspect Christopher Bello as possibly being involved in Mary's case. Um, and when I do because it doesn't give a lot of information in the Charley Project information about why he is considered a suspect in all these cases. But when I do him for the case of the week, I will explain how they have connected him to all these cases. So stay tuned Friday for that. So it does give a little bit of information in this one. So Christopher was known to have been in St. Cloud at the time that Mary disappeared. And once again, it says it should be emphasized that he has not been charged in connection with Mary's case. Mary left behind her parents, her children, and her first husband in Pennsylvania. She usually called them at least once every 3 weeks. And her family realized that there was something wrong when she did not call home during the week of her son's senior prom and high school graduation. So that tells you a lot. It just always, all these cases bother me, obviously, but when there are children involved, it just makes it makes me feel it a little bit more. So it says, any mother that obviously she cared about her children. So if she did not come home or at least contact her son for the senior prom and the high school graduation, that would definitely set off the bells and whistles and the red flags. So if you have any information about this case, Mary's case, please contact the St. Cloud Police Department at 407-891-6700. So we have this Christopher fellow, like I said, showing up in all these cases. Right, next we have Christina Joanne Porco. Let me grab her information. Christina went missing on November 29th, 1986 from Hilton Head, South Carolina. Her case was classified as a non-family abduction. She is a white female. She was just 16 years old when she went missing. She was 5'8", 140 pounds. She was last seen wearing an orange sweatshirt, light blue jeans, and white sneakers. She had brown hair and brown eyes. She wore artificial fingernails at the time of her 1986 disappearance. And her ears are pierced, and her nickname was Chrissy. So Christina was last seen leaving her family's residence in the Woodlake Villas condominium complex on Hilton Head Island in South Carolina on November 29th, 1986. She had had an argument with her mother during the evening hours about her curfew. Any normal 16-year-old. I know when I was 16-year-old, I had a few arguments about curfew. And apparently she left the house that night at around 10:30 p.m. Christina had called a friend from a nearby phone booth afterwards and asked if she could spend the night with her friend. The friend's mother would not let her spend the night, and Christina said that she was going to sleep by her apartment complex's pool. So that would lead me to believe, because most pools have the lounge chairs, so I'm assuming that she was just going to sack out in one of the lounge chairs and sleep, and go back to her residence the following morning. During the conversation, she mentioned a taxi that kept passing her that was driving slowly. Her friend went to the pool shortly thereafter, but she only found Christina's red sweater in the pool area. Christina was nowhere to be found, and she has never been seen or heard from again. Since her disappearance, Christina's savings account has not been utilized since 1986. She did not have any extra cash or belongings with her at the time that she vanished, and she left behind between $100 to $200 in a savings account. So if she had left of her own accord, you would think that she would have taken some money and personal belongings with her. Said she was an average student in high school prior to her disappearance. And just before she went missing, she had finished a book report that was due the following week. She was auditioning for a part in a school musical, and her mother does not believe that she would have run away from home. Foul play is suspected. Once again, Christopher as a possible suspect in Christina's case. And the explanation, a little bit of an explanation they give for his possible connection is that all of Christopher's suspected victims are dark-haired young women. And also, one of Christina's missing persons flyers was found inside his home in Lodi, Ohio in 1992. So about 5 or 6 years later, they found one of her missing persons flyers in his home. And his sister has stated that he did carry missing person posters around for several women in a box. That's not red flag. That didn't send up any red flags. But investigators have been unable to find this box. And when I do the case of the week on Christopher below, we will talk about this box, this mysterious box. Investigators know Christopher. He was a native of Kentucky. He was living in South Carolina during the late 1980s and early 1990s. So he would have been in the area when Christina disappeared. They are trying to determine his whereabouts at the time of Christina's disappearance. Once again, he has never been charged in connection to anything with Christina's case. And I lost my place, sorry. And Christina's mother believes that her daughter's remains are buried in the North Forest Beach area, but no evidence has been discovered to prove this theory. All of Christina's friends passed polygraph tests about her disappearance. Obviously, her case is unsolved. Unfortunately, her parents divorced in 1988, and her mother has resumed using her maiden name in Zara. So if you have any information about Christina or this case, you can contact the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office at 843-689-4300. All right, next we have Heather Danielle Teague. Her information. Heather disappeared on August 26th of 1995 from Spotsville, Kentucky. She was 23 years old when she disappeared, 5'2", 90 to 100 pounds. She did have scoliosis, and her spine curved slightly but noticeably as a result of her condition. She had brown hair, green eyes. She had a circular red birthmark on her right buttock. And she had fallen arches, or what they call flat feet. So Heather, when she disappeared, she was sunbathing at Newburgh Beach in Henderson County, Kentucky on August 25th, 1995. Now this one is an observed abduction. Somebody saw Heather being abducted. So she was bathing at this beach in Henderson County, Kentucky. A witness was observing the beach area through a telescope from across the Ohio River and this was at approximately 12:45 p.m. This witness told authorities that he saw a Caucasian man approach Heather at that time. The abductor allegedly grabbed Heather by the hair, dragged her into the woods off of Newburgh Beach at gunpoint. The abductor was approximately 6 foot tall and approximately 210 to 230 pounds. He had brown hair and a bushy brown beard. He was wearing jeans. He did not have a shirt on. He was also reported to be wearing a wig and a mosquito net at the time that he abducted Heather. Authorities did search the Newburgh Beach area later in the day, and they discovered part of Heather's bathing suit near the alleged abduction site. So that's never a good sign. Additional evidence was also located, but nothing investigators found could lead them to Heather's whereabouts, and she was never heard from or seen again. So we have, this is Marvin Ray Marty Deal. He was a resident of Henderson County, Kentucky. He apparently was pulled over in a routine traffic stop after Heather disappeared. He drove a red and white Ford Bronco, which was identical to a vehicle a witness reported was parked next to Heather's car on Newburgh Beach when she disappeared. Authorities discovered a hair resembling Heather's, 2 firearms, 2 knives, duct tape, rubber gloves, and rope in this character's vehicle at the time of this traffic stop. The truck did have blood stains inside the tailgate, and it says that Deal also strongly resembled the composite sketch made of Heather's abductor. Investigators received several tips connecting Deal to Heather's case in August of 1995. They arrived at his home to question him. He reportedly told his wife to leave their residence after becoming alerted to law enforcement's presence. He then took his own life with a firearm before officers could enter his home. Prosecutors did compile available evidence against Deal after his death and brought the information before a grand jury. His wife was called as a witness during the grand jury phase, but she invoked her Fifth Amendment right, and she refused to answer any questions about Heather's abduction. So to me, so I've been talking about this Christopher fella who is a suspect in these cases. Keep in mind, just a suspect. Nothing is, as it's been saying, he's never been charged officially or questioned in any of these cases except for one. But to me, this Deal, Marvin Ray Deal, could be definitely would be up at the top of my list if he matched the description of the witness. They found all this stuff in his truck. When he found out that law enforcement was on the way, he offed himself. So I have questions about this one, about whether Christopher Below could have anything to do with it. But once again, they say Christopher is another possible suspect in Heather's case, because the connection they made to this one was he was a native of Henderson, Kentucky. So unless there's some other information that I uncover when I start researching this Christopher fella for the case of the week, this one's a little iffy for me. But please let me know in comments what you guys think. Investigators, and I believe another way that they connected him, tried to make a connection to Heather's case was because she did. Apparently, Christopher had a type, maybe. Um, she matched the type with the long dark hair, about 5 foot tall, 100 pounds. It does say that Christopher was known to be in the general area when Heather um, was abducted, but shortly after her disappearance on the same day that this Deal character offed himself, he left Kentucky, and he and Christopher Below and Christopher Deal did share acquaintances. So it's um, possible that maybe they were possibly in on it together. I don't know. I'm just going to throwing out some food for thought. So, although the witness to Teague's abduction consistently identified this Marvin Deal and not Christopher as the kidnapper, authorities believe they have a circumstantial evidence to tie Christopher to this crime. They believe that he and Deal may have done it together. Perhaps one of them grabbed Teague and the other one drove the getaway car. Plausible, possible. But however, due to a lack of conclusive evidence, there was no conclusive evidence that linked Christopher to the crime. In advance my slide. In February 2013, Teague's mother filed a lawsuit against local, state, and federal authorities in connection with her daughter's abduction, alleging malfeasance and a cover-up. I don't know about any of that. We're not going to go into that. Her mother claims that law enforcement focused on the wrong suspect in her daughter's kidnapping and failed to follow up on leads that would have led the investigation elsewhere. And it says that this litigation is pending. Obviously, as all the other ones, her disappearance remains unsolved. Foul play is suspected. So if you have any information about Heather's disappearance or anything related to the Marvin Deal or Christopher Below, you can contact the Kentucky State Police at 270-826-3312. Right, so we come to Catherine G. Fetzer. This is our last one, and Catherine went missing on November 26th, 1991 from Medina, Ohio. She was 26 years old when she went missing, 5 foot to 5'1", 100 to 120 pounds. She was last seen wearing a white knee-length cotton coat. It says she did suffer from migraine headaches, asthma, and she took medication for both. And she left her medicine behind when she disappeared. She had sandy brown hair, blue-green eyes, and her nicknames are Kathy and Kit. So Catherine was last seen in her home on Lafayette Road in Medina, Ohio on November 26, 1991. She had left a note behind for her husband of 5 years saying that she was restless and she was going to a local mall to window shop. She never returned, was never seen again. Her husband reported her missing. She did take her purse and overcoat with her when she disappeared, but she left behind other clothes, her medicine, checkbook, and all of her credit cards. And she also left a load of laundry in the washing machine. So if she was going out, although it does say that she was just going to window shop, you would think that she would at least take, it doesn't matter what, when I go anywhere, it doesn't matter if I'm planning on buying anything or not. I always take my purse with me with my identification, debit card these days, any credit cards, any personal identification. I always have it with me. So it's a little bit odd that she wouldn't take any of that with her. Police did find her car, which was a blue 1985 Ford Tempo, locked and abandoned 25 miles away from her home on the day after she was reported missing. It was parked on a gravel truck turnaround along an abandoned railroad line off of State Route 83, which was just south of Lodi, Ohio, near the Wayne County line. There was no sign of Catherine at the scene. There was no footprints, bloodstains, or other clues inside the vehicle, which did contain some of the belongings that she had taken with her. It does say that she was having an affair with a married co-worker. Guess who the co-worker was? Yes, it was Christopher J. Below at the time of her disappearance. So Christopher initially maintained innocence in this case in Catherine's disappearance and stated that he was at work when she was missing, but his alibi turned out to be not true. He did later confess to using a firearm in his apartment in Medina, and he said that he did dispose of her remains in a trash bin. He did plead guilty to attempted involuntary manslaughter in connection with Catherine's case, and he was sentenced to 11 to 18 years in prison. Investigators believe that he took her life because she wanted to end their relationship. And he is considered a possible suspect in several other homicides and disappearances of young, dark-haired women, including Heather Teague, Mary Cousteau, Christina Porco, and Shailene Farrell. Once again, he has not been charged in connection with any of these other cases, and it should be emphasized that only conjecture links him to these other disappearances. Hold on a minute. Sorry, I dropped my stylus. Anyway, unfortunately, Catherine's body has never been found, although he admitted to taking her life and apparently disposing of her in a trash bin. Apparently, he did not want to talk and give up where he possibly left her. But if you do have any information about this case, you can call the Medina Police Department at 330-725-7777. So, who is this Christopher? This is a picture of Christopher. I forgot to advance my slide. This is a picture of Christopher. So who is this Christopher fellow? I'm going to have to get a little bit closer so I can read this. His full name, Christopher J. Below. He was born in Henderson, Kentucky. He obviously is a white male. It says offender type, suspected serial offender. Connections, attempted involuntary manslaughter. His criminal penalty is unknown, but I think it said he got 11 to 18 years in Catherine's case. Victims range 1 definitely, could be possibly 5. His span of crimes possibly could span from 1986 to 1998, all in the United States, and he was apprehended in 1991. So a little bit of information that I will definitely deep dive into in the case of the week. This came from, I can't remember the name of the site. I will link it in the description box. but this came from the poster. It's called The Tracker. Apparently, he had some insight or some information from police, law enforcement. And it says this information is coming out of Medina, Ohio. It says for more than a decade, Detective Scott Thomas and his colleagues have been investigating Christopher Bello, a native of Henderson, Kentucky. Last year, and this was posted in 2006. So last year, which would have been 2005, Thomas got Christopher to confess to the 1991 homicide of Catherine Fetzer, for which he is currently serving time. But the detective suspects that Christopher may have also harmed other women over the years who fit a certain profile. We've discussed young, long dark hair, around 5 feet tall, 100 pounds. Both Fetzer and Teague had long dark hair. They were around 5 feet tall, weighed 100 pounds. Detective Thomas told Newswatch, quote, the Heather Teague case was interesting because A, he is from the area. I was able to establish a time frame that he was in that area at the time, and that shortly after her disappearance, he left the state of Kentucky. Detective Thomas also went on to say that the more he dug into Christopher's life, the stranger it got. And according to him, he calls Christopher a pathological liar, a sociopath, and an extreme manipulator. So, like I said, there's a lot more information that this Detective Thomas gave that we will go into for the case of the week this week. So this week I will dig in more, find as much information as I can about this Christopher fellow. Give you a little bit more information that this detective dug up, and some connections he made, some deeper connections that he made to these other 4 cases that, or to these 5 cases that I brought to you today. So stay tuned Friday. You do not want to miss it. Very interesting, disturbing. I say interesting, disturbing stuff. So thank you for watching. I hope if you found this video interesting, informative, please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up, like, share, comment. All those things help small channels like mine push this information out to as many people as possible. That is the most important thing, is to get this information out to as many people as possible. You can find me on Facebook. I have a Facebook group and a Facebook page, also called Southern Gal True Crime. If you ever have any questions or comments, you can email me. You can either email me, you can pop a comment in any of the videos or live streams I've done. If you have a case that is close to your heart, you may have known the victim, it may have come from your hometown, home city, home state, or from anywhere, any case that you know of that you think that has not gotten enough attention, or you want to bring more awareness to it, email me the victim's name, the state it comes from, any information you have. I will definitely look into it, do my research, and come up with everything I can, and I will do a video or a live stream for it, or feature it as a case of the week, or feature the victim in my Missing Person Monday episode. That is what I'm here for. So please do send me anything you have. If you would like to support the channel and the search for the missing, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account, a PayPal me account, Southern Gal True Crime merch. Like I said, it helps support the channel, and a portion is donated to a nonprofit organization of a wonderful group of people who go out and help families free of charge, try to find their missing loved ones. They work on cold cases to try to bring families closure. So it's a very worthy cause. So until next time, until probably Friday, Take care of yourselves. Be careful out there. Take care of each other. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.